my name is Sarah, and today we're talking about Cress by Marissa Meyer. Cress is the third book in the Lunar Chronicles series, which is a post-World War IV sci-fi retelling of popular fairy tales. If you've been following along with my videos over the last couple of months, then you know that I read the first book in the series, CINDER, in October, and then I binge read the entire rest of the series in the month of November. The first book in the series is a retelling of Cinderella, the second is a retelling of Red Riding Hood, and this third book is a retelling of Rapunzel. Like my review of Scarlet, this is going to be a spoiler-free review for Cress, but because this is the third book in the series, there will be some spoilers for the content of Cinder and Scarlet, so if you have not read one or both of those books, I would suggest you stop watching now, but I will link both of my spoiler-free reviews for Cinder and Scarlet below so you can check those out. So, I wound up staying up until 3 a.m. to finish this book in one sitting, which should tell you a little bit about my thoughts on it. Basically, I really loved it. I started the book around 8:30 or 9 p.m. on a Friday night and kept telling myself, oh, I'll just read to the end of the next chapter, or oh, I'll just read to the end of the next section, and then it was 3 a.m. and I had finished the book. So much like Scarlet in comparison to Cinder, Cress is just more action, more characters, more fun, more intrigue, and more love that I have for this series, these characters, this world, and everything that is in it. Much like Scarlet, my two favorite things about this book are the characters we get to meet, both the old ones that we brought in from the previous installments and the new ones that we get introduced to, and the increasingly intricate and fantastic way that Marissa Meyer is weaving all of these stories together while still paying homage to the original fairy tales. In this third installment of the novel, Scarlet and Wolf have teamed up with Cress and Thorn and are attempting to save the galaxy from the likes of the evil Queen Lavanna. Their best hope lies with Cress, the Queen's hacker, who we briefly met in Cinder. When an attempted rescue of Cress goes awry, the group is separated and all sorts of craziness ensues. We then follow the various groupings of the crew as they continue to do whatever they can in their individual situations to overthrow Queen Lavanna. If it's not obvious by now, I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. Like I said, I absolutely loved it. The characters, the intrigue, the plot twists, the story, just all of it. I loved everything about it. There's nothing about this book that I did not like. So like normal, starting with the characters, this book has only continued to deepen my love for Scarlet and Wolf and Cinder and Thorn and Kai, all the characters that we met in the first 2 books, and introduced quite possibly one of my favorite characters in this whole series, which is Cress. Cress is just adorable. She is sweet and naive, but also really hopeful and kind, and I loved her wide-eyed innocence and excitement about everything, and she's just a really fun, sweet character that I think is a very nice compliment to the spunk and sass of Scarlet, the fierce determination of Wolf, the wittiness and, cockiness of Thorn, into the sarcastic dry humor of Cinder. Because she has spent basically her entire life locked in a satellite with very little human interaction, she just has a completely different perspective on life and the world and everything else than the entire rest of the crew. Also, I love Thorn and Cress. Their interactions are really sweet and funny, and I love how even though Thorn isn't really totally sure what to do with Cress, he automatically feels this need to protect her and care for her, and he doesn't quite know what to do with that, which I think is really funny to watch because of how we saw him act in Scarlet with this sort of sense of bravado and cockiness, and how he interacts with Cress is so different from how he interacts with everyone else, and you can tell that she just totally throws him off guard and he doesn't know what to do with her, and I love everything about the two of them together. They are just freaking adorable, and yeah, I love them. Aside from my fangirling about Cress and Thorn, one of the things that I loved the most about this book and the characters in it is that now that we have a slightly larger cast of characters, we don't just have, Thorn and Cinder over on one side and Scarlet and Wolf over here doing their thing like we do for most of the book Scarlet. Now that there's a lot more interaction and different groupings of people and things like that, we really see how they're starting to become a team, or as Thorn would say, a crew, and I just love to see how the different personalities are coming out, because really all of these characters are so different. Marissa Meyer did a fantastic job of making them all unique, but giving them depth, and I just love to see how they interact with each other, both within sort of their individual couples that have formed, but also how they interact just as a group, and how, the girls interact with each other, how Cinder interacts with Wolf, and how Thorn interacts with Scarlet, and just how all of the different groupings and pairings of people people come together to create this group that really is turning into a family, and it's just really fun to watch. It's been a while since I've read a book with sort of an ensemble cast of characters, and I just love this ensemble. I love all of them. There isn't really like a main character in the series aside from, of course, Queen Lavanna that I don't just love pretty much everything about them. As far as the story is concerned, this, much like Scarlet, just ups my level of appreciation for the intricacies and the thought that Marissa Meyer put into these stories. Like Cinder and Scarlet before, we see all these bits and pieces from the original Rapunzel fairy tale that are known to people who know and love that story that Marissa Meyer finds a way to implement into this sci-fi version of the story that she tells, and it's so fascinating to me. I love how everything is weaving and coming together, and I love how, because there's more characters and there's more plot twist and intrigue, there's more of, you know, that sort of edge of your seat, what's gonna happen feeling as we get more and more involved and invested in these characters and their lives. And really, that's what happened here. Like, if there was any doubt that I loved any of these characters prior to reading this book, like, it's gone. I love all of them. Yeah, I could fangirl about this book for a really, really long time. Basically, if you cannot tell, I love this series, I love this book. If you love sci-fi, if you love fantasy, if you love fairy tales, why haven't you started reading this yet? Well, there you have it, friends. That is my review of Cress by Marissa Meyer. If you have read the book, I would love to hear your thoughts, so please let me know and we can fangirl all day long in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye! You know that I read the first, following along with my video, if you've been following, if you've separate, one in 10, we then follow the various groupings of the crew as they we because she's lived basically, the thing that I probably, Scarlet by Marissa, not Scarlet, Cress, third book, not second book.